I've had about a month of use of the new GuliKit joysticks. Not as many hours on them as I would have liked, but enough to have a solid opinion of. And that opinion? They're the best I've tried so far. And I wonder if a replacement joystick can even get any better. I just don't see any weak spot in these. The price could be cheaper, but can say that for just about everything. These are very, very good. The GuliKit joysticks come with their own set of thumb knobs. They are not just a replica of the DualSense knobs. They're quite different. And now I've had a chance to use the GuliKit joysticks with the GuliKit knobs and with the original DualSense knobs. The joystick module itself feels great using either type knob, but my favorite is the GuliKit knob. I really like them. They stand about 0.1 inches higher than the original DualSense knob, so I think that is part of the reason I like them. Also, the GuliKit knob's center is concave, compared to the original DualSense knob's convex center. I just like the way my thumb fits the GuliKit knob. The height and shape of the thumb knob is going to be a personal preference, I know, but give the GuliKit knobs a shot. You might end up liking them. I sure did. As for the feel of these joysticks, I would say they feel most like the Alps joysticks. I really couldn't tell a pressure difference side by side. I would say the GuliKit is a bit more rigid, not the best word to describe the feeling. Less flex or less looseness. It's very slight, but it is noticeable. I guess I would say it's a more quality Alps feel, if that makes sense. If you like the standard DualSense joystick feel, then these will give you that. Though a DualSense can come with either Alps or Favor Union joysticks, and there is a very slight difference in feel, so standard DualSense feel has a sort of wide range there. Of course, response time on these is great. I can't tell a difference between these and a potentiometer joystick. I can say the same thing about the Favor Union Hall Effect joysticks. Both are a great replacement for potentiometer joysticks. Response time is not going to be the deciding factor between the two. These feel so much like an Alps joystick, I thought I would take a look inside the joystick mechanism. Like every joystick I've ever taken apart, there are 4 tabs bent over the plastic bottom piece. So it's just a matter of bending the tabs away without poking the screwdriver into one of my fingers. I see from the pieces there is a reason these feel so much like an Alps. Switch seems to be like all the other joystick switches. I was a bit rough on the bottom tabs, cracked the bottom plastic piece. Pretty thick grease in it, and plenty of it. It is very similar to the Alps base. Center point may be a bit steeper than the Alps. Yes, probably a bit sharper peak. I wonder if that is why these seem to have a narrower center range. That is the same basic parts layout that make up an Alps joystick. Spring fit on the lower shaft is a bit different than the Alps. There is no play where the spring sets, and that is different than the Alps, and maybe the reason these don't click when moved. Sometimes there are signs that today is going to be a good day. That wasn't any trick of the camera. Instead of me spending half an hour looking for where the spring popped to, it bounced off of something and landed right back in the pile of parts. Maybe I should buy a lottery ticket today. As for the spring, seems to be about the same as an Alps spring. Would be hard-pressed to tell them apart side by side. Lower shaft is different than the Alps, shorter in length and solid. The Alps lower shaft is hollow. Again, I think the solid shaft would be less likely to echo the sound of a spring snapping against it, compared to a hollow shaft. Upper shaft and arm assembly have a very good fit. I can't really feel any play in it at all. The upper shaft and arm from Alps have a bit of play. I think this might be where the rigidness I feel is coming from. Very well molded parts. Top guide is shaped a bit different than the Alps, but that won't affect how the joystick feels mechanically. It just transfers the movement to the magnet assembly. The spring has less play in the upper shaft than the Alps joystick. There is still some, as I can feel it when I move the spring from side to side. Hard to see, but the spring is a very close fit in the upper shaft. A lot closer than the spring fit in the Alps upper shaft. I think between the lower shaft and the upper shaft, the spring can't pop around like the spring in the Alps, so no click when moved. So I would say the joystick mechanism is a more precision version of the Alps joystick, Of course, more precision molded parts will mean a higher cost to manufacture, and I would expect the TMR sensor IC to cost more than a Hall effect sensor. In time that may not be the case, but TMR sensors are kind of new compared to the Hall effect sensors. The only area where I can see the cost to be less for these is in the magnet. It is a smaller magnet, so the cost could be a bit less, but the less may be in the fraction of a cent. After tearing this down, it wouldn't surprise me if the joystick mechanism itself is a major contributor to the higher cost of these. I think these are the best replacement joystick available at this time, and maybe for quite some time to come. The combo of the TMR joysticks and the new thumb knobs makes the DualSense controller better than when it was new. Thank you for watching.